I serve my husband divorce papers at his mother's funeral reception. I know how that sounds. I can see your face right now, the judgment forming before you even know the full story. Stay with me. By the end, you'll understand why some moments demand perfect cruelty, why sometimes the only language betrayal understands is its own reflection. Hello everyone. Thank you for gathering here today. Before I share my confession, tell me what city you're watching from in the comments. Now, let me take you to a grand ballroom, where a man was about to receive the highest honor of his career, and his wife was about to hand him the lowest moment of his life. But first, let me tell you who I was before all of this. Look at me, really look. I'm not extraordinary. I'm not some brilliant detective or fearless warrior. I'm a 38-year-old high school literature teacher who thought she understood stories, who spent years teaching students about foreshadowing and dramatic irony and tragic flaws. Turns out, I was living in a story I couldn't even read. I was the protagonist too blind to see the plot unfolding around me. And maybe that's you too. Maybe you're sitting there thinking this could never happen to you, that you'd see the signs, that you're smarter than I was. That's exactly what I thought. It begins on a Saturday morning in June, the kind of morning that should be in a perfume commercial. The kind where possibility hangs in the air like morning mist over a lake. Daniel is humming while making his signature blueberry pancakes, the ones with lemon zest that took him 3 years to perfect. Sunlight pours through our kitchen windows and catches the watch on his wrist, the vintage Omega I saved for 8 months to buy, skipping lunches and walking to work to afford it. Morning, beautiful, he says, kissing my forehead with that familiar tenderness that still makes my heart skip. He smells like cedar and coffee and 15 years of accumulated trust, of inside jokes and shared dreams and a life built carefully brick by brick. Morning yourself. I mean it. God help me, I mean it. 15 years of marriage, and I still feel that flutter when he smiles at me. My husband is an architect. Not just any architect, a brilliant, award-winning one. The kind of man who designs libraries and community centers and affordable housing projects. The kind who gives TED Talks about sustainable urban development and giving back through design. The kind everyone respects, whose name appears in Architectural Digest next to phrases like visionary and principled. Everyone loves Daniel. His colleagues, his clients, the City Planning Commission. And me? I worship him. I'm proud to be his wife, proud to say my husband when people ask what I do with my summers. Our son Leo appears in the kitchen doorway, 14 and already taller than me, lanky in that way teenage boys are before they fill out. His headphones dangle around his neck, probably still playing whatever indie band he's obsessed with this week. He grabs a pancake with his hand, and I swat at him playfully, the way mothers do. Civilized humans use forks, I tease. Barely civilized, he shoots back, grinning that crooked grin that's pure Daniel. This is my life. This is my family. This is everything I thought I knew about the world. This is the foundation I've built my entire adult life upon. This is what I think happiness looks like. I'm wrong about all of it. The first crack appears on a Wednesday afternoon 3 weeks later. I'm sitting at my desk grading essays, 32 papers on betrayal and Othello, because apparently the universe has a sick sense of humor, when Leo walks into my study. His face has that troubled look teenagers get when they've discovered something that doesn't fit their understanding of how the world works. Mom, he says carefully, and I can hear the hesitation in his voice. Why does Dad have a storage unit? I look up from a particularly painful misreading of Iago's motivations. What do you mean, sweetheart? I was looking for batteries in his desk drawer. Found a key with an address label. Northside Storage, Unit 47B. Why would he need a storage unit? We have a basement, an attic, and a garage. My red pen hovers over a sentence about jealousy being the green-eyed monster. The irony will hit me later, sharp and cruel. Maybe for old blueprints? You know how architects are, they keep every sketch, every failed design. Professional hoarders. But Leo's face tells me he's already thought of that, already worked through the logical explanations and found them wanting. He's always been this way, my son. Always observing, always seeing patterns where I see randomness. The receipt is from 2 weeks ago, Mom. Monthly rental. $400 a month. Why wouldn't he mention spending $400 a month on storage when you guys discuss every expense over $50? It's a good question. A very good question. But I dismiss it because the alternative, the possibility that my husband is keeping secrets, is a door I'm not ready to open. I'm not ready to peek into that darkness. I'll ask him about it, I lie, returning to my grading. But the seed is planted. And seeds, as any gardener knows, have a way of growing even in darkness. Especially in darkness. 3 days pass. Then 4. Then a week. I can't stop thinking about that storage unit key. It's ridiculous, Daniel and I share everything. We have joint bank accounts, no separate credit cards, full access to each other's phones and emails. We've built our marriage on transparency. We're the couple other couples point to and say, that's what partnership looks like. On Saturday, while Daniel's at what he tells me is a site meeting for a new library project in the west suburbs, I make a decision. Leo and I get in the car and drive to Northside Storage. Are we really doing this? Leo asks, and there's something in his voice, excitement, maybe, or vindication. He sounds younger, like he's getting to participate in something adult and forbidden. We're just checking, I say, though we both know that's a lie. We're not just checking. We're investigating. We're doubting. We're becoming people I don't recognize. The storage facility is a maze of identical orange roll-up doors, the kind of place that exists in every American suburb, filled with the overflow of American lives. Unit 47B is in the back corner, isolated from the main pathways. Private. My hands shake as I fit the key into the lock. It turns. Of course it turns. Inside, the unit is small, maybe 10 by 10, but meticulously organized. This is Daniel's work. I recognize his labeling system, his attention to order. File boxes stacked precisely. A laptop I've never seen before sitting on a folding table. And photographs, dozens of them, printed and pinned to a corkboard like evidence in a crime drama, connected with colored string like you see in movies about conspiracy theorists. The photos show construction sites. But not Daniel's projects. These are older buildings, historic ones. Victorian houses. Art Deco apartments. Mid-century modern offices. And there are people in the photos, men in suits shaking hands, women holding clipboards, faces I vaguely recognize from the news or city council meetings. Mom, Leo breathes, and his voice cracks the way it does when he's trying to sound adult but can't quite manage it. You need to see this. He's holding a folder, and his hands are trembling. Inside are contracts. Development proposals. Official city documents with stamps and signatures. Plans for demolishing historic buildings, buildings protected by preservation laws, to make way for luxury condos and mixed-use developments with names like Heritage Commons and Vintage Heights. The irony of the names makes me nauseous. And there's Daniel's signature. Over and over. Listed as consulting architect on projects I've never heard him mention. Projects that directly contradict everything he claims to believe in. My husband, who gives impassioned speeches about preserving architectural heritage, who writes op-eds about protecting neighborhood character, has been secretly working to destroy it. But it gets worse. So much worse. There are financial records in the next box. Bank statements for accounts I don't recognize. Payments to shell companies with vague names like Urban Solutions LLC and Metropolitan Design Consulting. Wire transfers. Cashier's checks. Bribes disguised as consulting fees. Daniel has been accepting money, significant money, to rubber-stamp demolition permits for buildings that should be protected by law. I sit down hard on the concrete floor, my legs suddenly unable to hold me. And then Leo finds the letters. A stack of them, bound with a ribbon like something from a period drama. Love letters. Handwritten on expensive stationery. Intimate. Passionate. Addressed to my darling Daniel and signed yours always, V. The world doesn't just tilt. It inverts completely. That night, I don't confront him. You're probably screaming at me right now, wondering why not, calling me a coward or a fool. But here's what you need to understand. Confronting him in that moment would give him time. Time to destroy evidence. Time to craft lies. Time to hire lawyers and empty accounts and make me look like a paranoid, jealous wife having some kind of breakdown. No. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it right. Methodically. Completely. I go to school on Monday and teach Hamlet. I discuss the importance of timing, of waiting for the perfect moment to act. My students have no idea I'm teaching myself as much as them. On Tuesday, I call in sick and drive to a law office downtown. Patricia Okonkwo's office is all glass and steel and intimidation. She's known for two things: brilliant legal strategy and absolute ruthlessness toward corrupt spouses. She's a woman who believes justice should be public and painful. What do you have? She asks. No pleasantries, just business. I show her everything. The photos. The contracts. The financial records. The letters. She examines each document carefully, and I watch her expression shift from professional interest to something sharper. This isn't just infidelity, she finally says. This is fraud. Bribery. Conspiracy to violate historic preservation laws. Your husband could face federal charges. Prison time. Good, I say, and I'm surprised by how steady my voice sounds, how cold. I sound like someone I don't know. Someone harder. There's something else, Patricia says, pulling up information on her computer. If you're filing joint tax returns, you need to act fast. If the IRS catches this before you report it, you could be considered complicit. Spouses have been charged as co-conspirators in cases like this. The room spins. He hasn't just betrayed me. He set me up to take the fall. Leo becomes my partner in this investigation. It should feel wrong, involving my 14-year-old son in adult betrayal and corruption, but he's already in it. He was the one who found the key. And more than that, he has skills I don't. He's grown up digital, fluent in technology in ways I'll never be. We start documenting everything. Daniel's movements, his phone calls, his late meetings. Leo sets up a shared document where we log every suspicious behavior, every inconsistency in Daniel's stories. One evening, while Daniel's supposedly working late at the office, Leo appears in my bedroom doorway holding Daniel's backup laptop, the one he keeps in his study in case of emergencies. I cracked the password, Leo says simply. He's always been good with computers, spending hours watching coding tutorials and cybersecurity videos on YouTube. You're not going to like what's on here. He's right. I don't like it. I hate it. The laptop contains emails. Hundreds of them. Years of correspondence. The affair has been going on for 3 years, longer than I thought possible, longer than seems sustainable. The woman is Vivian Chen, a city planning commissioner. 42 years old. Harvard educated. Married with 2 children. In the photos Daniel has saved, she's beautiful in that polished, powerful way that makes me feel small and foolish. Together, Daniel and Vivian have been orchestrating an elaborate scheme. She approves demolition permits for historic buildings. He provides falsified structural reports claiming the buildings are unsound, beyond repair, dangerous. Developers pay them both, funneling money through shell companies and fake consulting contracts. It's elegant and completely illegal. But here's the detail that makes my blood freeze. They've been using my teacher's salary as a cover story. On our joint tax returns, Daniel claimed his consulting income was from spousal business support, money I supposedly earned through tutoring and curriculum development. It's all documented, all filed with the IRS. I'm implicated. If this scheme is exposed without me acting first, I could face charges. Tax fraud. Conspiracy. My teaching license would be revoked. I could go to prison. He hasn't just betrayed me. He's weaponized me. Made me a shield. Patricia moves fast once she understands the full scope. We hire a forensic accountant named Marcus Webb, a quiet man with sharp eyes who treats financial crimes like personal insults. Within a week, he's traced $280,000 through various shell companies, identified 12 separate bribes, and found evidence of at least 18 falsified structural reports. Your husband is sophisticated, Marcus tells me. But he's not as smart as he thinks. He got greedy, and greedy people make mistakes. But I need more than financial evidence. I need to understand the full extent of the betrayal. I need to know if there are other victims, other people whose lives Daniel has destroyed while I slept beside him every night. I do something risky. I reach out to Vivian's husband, James. I find him through LinkedIn. He's a professor at Northwestern, teaches environmental ethics. The irony is almost funny. I send him a carefully worded email asking to meet, claiming I have information about city corruption that might interest him. We meet at a park in Lincoln Park on a Tuesday afternoon. He's tall, distinguished, with gray hair and tired eyes. We sit on a bench watching children play, 2 strangers connected by shared devastation. I know about your wife and my husband, I say directly. There's no point in dancing around it. He doesn't look surprised. How long have you known? 2 weeks. You? 6 months. I've been documenting everything. Hotel receipts. Credit card statements. A burner phone I found in her car. He pauses. They're planning to leave. Both of us. They've been moving money offshore. Grand Cayman, some account I can't track. They think they're untouchable. We sit in silence for a long moment, watching a little girl spin on a merry-go-round, her laughter carrying across the playground. She has no idea how complicated the world will become for her. What do we do? James asks finally. We burn it all down, I say. Together. The pieces fall into place like a chess endgame where every move has been planned 20 turns ahead. Patricia files for divorce but petitions to have it sealed from public records. We don't want Daniel to know yet. James does the same with Vivian through his own attorney. We contact the FBI with evidence of the bribery scheme, providing them with copies of every document Marcus has analyzed. We reach out to investigative journalists at the Tribune, giving them an exclusive but asking them to hold the story until we say. Everyone agrees. Everyone wants to see this through. And then we wait for the perfect moment. The moment when the irony will be sharpest, the fall the furthest. It arrives 5 weeks later. The Urban Planning Conference is hosting its annual awards ceremony at the Drake Hotel, a black-tie affair where the city's architectural and planning elite gather to celebrate themselves. Daniel is receiving the Heritage Preservation Award for his unwavering dedication to architectural integrity and community values. I almost laugh when I read the announcement. Almost. I buy a new dress for the occasion, midnight blue, elegant, expensive. I want to look my best for this. Leo stays with my sister that night, but he texts me before I leave, make him pay, Mom. For both of us. I arrive at the Drake on Daniel's arm. He seems surprised. I usually skip these industry events, finding them boring and self-congratulatory, but he's clearly pleased. He keeps his hand on my lower back as we enter the ballroom, proprietary and proud. I'm glad you came, he whispers, kissing my cheek. This means everything to me. I smell his cologne, the one I gave him last Christmas, and it makes my stomach turn. But I smile. I've gotten good at smiling through revulsion. The ballroom is spectacular, all crystal chandeliers and gold leaf and views of Lake Michigan. There are 300 people here, everyone who matters in Chicago urban planning and architecture. I recognize faces from the news, from city council meetings, from Daniel's carefully cultivated professional network. During dinner, Daniel is in his element. He networks effortlessly, shaking hands, laughing at the right jokes, offering insights that make people lean in closer. Everyone loves Daniel. Brilliant Daniel. Visionary Daniel. Principled Daniel. Lying, corrupt, cheating Daniel. Vivian Chun sits 3 rows back with her husband. She's wearing red, dramatic and confident. She looks at Daniel with barely concealed affection. James sits beside her, stone-faced, waiting. When dinner ends and the awards ceremony begins, I feel my heart rate accelerate. This is it. The moment we've choreographed down to the minute. Daniel's name is called for the Heritage Preservation Award. The applause is thunderous. He walks to the stage, beaming, shaking hands with the conference organizer. He accepts the crystal trophy, heavy, expensive, symbolic. He begins his speech. Architecture isn't just about buildings, he says, his voice carrying that passionate sincerity that makes people believe him. It's about trust. It's about creating spaces that honor our past while building our future. It's about integrity, about understanding that every building we save or every building we lose changes the character of our communities forever. We're not just architects and planners, we're stewards of history. The audience nods, murmurs agreement. Someone shouts here, here. I stand up. The room goes quiet immediately. All eyes turn to me. Daniel stops mid-sentence, staring at me with confusion that rapidly shifts to alarm. Integrity, I say, and my voice is steady, clear, carrying across the ballroom with perfect acoustics. That's an interesting word choice, Daniel. Honey, what are you? For the past 3 years, I continue, walking toward the stage with deliberate steps, my husband has been accepting bribes to approve demolition permits for historic buildings. He's been falsifying structural reports, claiming sound buildings are dangerous to justify their destruction. He's been working with city officials, including Commissioner Vivian Chen, to systematically destroy the very architectural heritage he claims to protect. The silence is absolute. You could hear dust settling. Vivian's face drains of color. James stands, positioning himself to block her exit. He's also been having an affair with Commissioner Chen. Together, they've embezzled over $280,000 through shell companies. They've committed fraud, bribery, conspiracy to violate federal historic preservation laws, and tax fraud. I reach the stage, looking up at my husband. His mouth opens and closes, but no sound comes out. The trophy slips from his hands and shatters on the stage, crystal fragments scattering like his reputation. I've filed for divorce. The FBI has opened an investigation. The IRS has been notified. And as of this afternoon, I turn to face the audience. There are federal warrants for both their arrests. On perfect cue, FBI agents enter through the side doors. 4 of them, professional and efficient. The crowd parts like water. Daniel tries to speak. You don't understand, this is a mistake. The only mistake, I say clearly, was thinking you'd get away with it. The agents reach the stage. One of them reads Daniel his rights while another handcuffs him. The Heritage Preservation Award trophy lies shattered at his feet. The symbolism is almost too perfect. Across the ballroom, other agents are taking Vivian into custody. She's crying, mascara running, reaching for James who stands motionless, arms crossed. 300 urban planners and architects watch in stunned silence as Daniel and Vivian are led out of the ballroom in handcuffs. I turn to the audience one final time. Some faces show shock. Others show satisfaction. Daniel had enemies, rivals who resented his success. A few show pity, though I'm not sure if it's for him or for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I say, my voice not quite steady now, adrenaline making me shake, integrity. Then I walk out of that ballroom, past the whispers and gasps, past the photographers who've materialized from nowhere, past the life I used to have and into whatever comes next. The aftermath is a Category 5 hurricane that destroys everything in its path. The media devours the story. Celebrated architect falls from grace. City official caught in corruption scheme. Betrayal at the Heritage Awards. For 2 weeks, we're front page news. Reporters camp outside our house. My principal has to hire security for the school. Daniel's architecture firm terminates him immediately and launches an internal review of every project he touched. His architectural license is suspended pending investigation. The projects he designed are audited, and several are found to have fraudulent inspection reports. Buildings he claimed were structurally sound have serious issues he overlooked or deliberately ignored. The divorce moves swiftly. Patricia is merciless, efficient, perfect. Daniel tries to fight, tries to claim I'm vindictive and irrational, but he has no leverage and no money for adequate lawyers. His assets are frozen by federal order. His reputation is ashes. I get the house, full custody of Leo, substantial spousal support, and a settlement that ensures we'll never struggle financially. The irony is that the money securing our future came from the crimes that destroyed our past. Vivian loses everything too. Her position on the planning commission. Her marriage, James files for divorce and gets primary custody of their children. Her professional credibility. Several developers she approved permits for are now suing her. She's radioactive, unhireable. Both Daniel and Vivian plead guilty to multiple federal charges. Daniel gets 8 years in federal prison. Vivian gets 6. Their sentencing hearing is on the news, and I watch Daniel cry as the judge reads his sentence. I feel nothing. Not satisfaction, not pity, nothing. Some people blame me. Old friends disappear from my life, uncomfortable with my decisiveness, with my anger, with my refusal to suffer quietly. You destroyed him publicly, they say. You humiliated him. You could have been discreet. You didn't have to make it such a spectacle. But here's what I want you to understand: silence protects predators. Private divorces let corrupt people move on with their reputations intact, free to victimize others. Discretion is just another word for complicity. Some betrayals demand public consequences. Some crimes require public exposure. It's been 10 months now. Leo and I are rebuilding our lives brick by careful brick, the way Daniel used to build his architectural models, precise and intentional. Therapy helps. My therapist says I'm processing trauma and that it's okay to have good days and bad days, okay to sometimes miss the man I thought Daniel was while hating the man he actually is. Leo is thriving in ways that surprise me. He's more confident, more himself. He's talking about studying investigative journalism, about exposing corruption and holding powerful people accountable. He wants to be the person who finds the truth and refuses to let it stay hidden. I'm proud beyond words, though I wish he'd learned these lessons differently. I'm teaching again, rediscovering who I am outside of being Daniel's wife. It's terrifying and liberating in equal measure. My students don't know my story, they just know me as Ms. Patterson, the English teacher who's maybe a little too passionate about Shakespeare's tragedies. Some days I'm angry. Some days I'm sad. Some days I feel nothing at all, just numb and exhausted. But I'm here. I survived. We survived. James and I remain friends, bound by the shared experience of betrayal and choosing ourselves. We meet for coffee sometimes, two people who understand something about each other that no one else can. We don't talk about Daniel or Vivian unless we need to. Mostly we talk about our kids, about rebuilding, about the strange gift of starting over. So let me leave you with this, whoever you are out there listening to my confession. Trust yourself. When something feels wrong in your gut, it usually is. Don't silence that voice because you're afraid of what you might discover. Fear of the truth doesn't change the truth, it just delays your reckoning with it. Evidence matters. The world demands proof, especially from women, especially when we're accusing powerful men of wrongdoing. Gather it methodically. Document everything. Protect it ruthlessly. Your credibility depends on your ability to prove what you know to be true. Find your allies. Mine was my 14-year-old son who noticed a storage unit key. Heroes come in unexpected forms. Sometimes they're children, sometimes they're strangers connected to you only by shared pain. Accept their help. You don't have to do this alone. Don't protect people who weaponize you. Loyalty to someone who's made you complicit in their crimes isn't love, it's self-destruction. If they're willing to destroy you to save themselves, you owe them nothing. And most importantly, your resilience writes your story, not your pain. You're not defined by what was done to you. You're defined by what you do next, by the choices you make when everything's falling apart. I chose to expose the truth. I chose to protect myself and my son. I chose to burn down a corrupt system rather than let it burn me. I chose public consequences over private suffering. What would you choose? Because I promise you, if you're facing something like this, if you're living in a story you can't quite read yet, you're stronger than you know. The fear of acting is temporary. The regret of staying silent is forever. I'm standing here today, scarred but whole, damaged but rebuilding, different but not destroyed. The courtroom doors closed behind Daniel. That chapter ended. The book of his life and mine together is finished. And now I'm the one holding the pen. I'm the one who gets to write what comes next. Not him. Not the people who judge me. Not the friends who abandoned me or the reporters who exploited my pain for clicks. Me. And that, more than anything, more than the settlement or the custody or the satisfaction of watching him led away in handcuffs, that is what justice looks like. So hold your pen tight. Write your own ending. And never, ever let anyone else tell your story. Thank you for listening.